All right.
So we should be live. Let's see if it's working since I don't have access
Yeah,
to Twitter. So I
I
have
think
to
it
ask Mario to share his screen for me.
Oh, wait a second. So how do we do this? Okay, so now
Go
we are in the infinite hole, and
go back to Twitter,
oh
Mario.
yeah. So now I just retweet this one, or you what?
No, reload the profile. Let's see if
Oh yes,
um
let's try this. Okay, choop. And
yes,
here we go.
cool.
Okay, cool. Oh,
is.
it looks perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
Super, super. Okay,
I
we did
retweeted
it in the
too.
end.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks all so much. We have some new faces this week, which I'm super happy about. I think like maybe we can start apart from the known faces like Aaron and Mario and Mumu. But maybe we can like quickly start like with a really brief introduction of who hasn't like joined before. So Mark, I'm gonna start with you because I can see you first in my screen.
Yeah. Well, hi. I'm Mark Knol. I'm from the Netherlands, and well, some may know me from. I created the discovery tool for the website, and well, yeah, you can check all information on there. So
Cool.
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, like we'll be talking exactly about that discovery website, which I know has been useful for so many people. So yeah, that's amazing. Who's next on my screen? Aurea.
Hi.
If I said it, hi.
Yeah. Thanks. Hi. Thanks for having me on. I'm Aurea Harvey, and I'm an artist, new to NFTs, but I've been releasing on Hiket Nunc for the last month, I guess, and I just did a new big drop. And I guess I mainly am a video game developer and sculptor. So my specialty is digital sculpture NFTs right now, but also physical sculpture. I have a show right now at Bitforms Gallery in New York City. So that's why I'm here. Thanks a lot.
Nice. Thank you for being here, Diane.
Hi everyone. So I'm Diane Trevet. I'm French, but based in Berlin, in Germany. And I'm also super new in the NFT space, actually, for the past months. But it feels like it's already a family, and that's super precious. Yeah, I'm basically a photographer and videographer, and I'm using everything that I capture in nature, and I try to transform it to create some futuristic and sci-fi visions of different things.
Super. Thank you so much. And MPF.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Matthew Plummer Fernandez. It's great to see some familiar faces and finally meet Aurea, because we've been following each other's work for a while now. So it took NFTs for us to be, in a conversation together, which is crazy because we both come from this background of doing digital sculpture, and we're both new to the scene. And I joined Hiket Nunc 5 weeks ago. And it already feels like 3 months or something like that. It's been really, really intense. And some of you might have seen my cave paintings that and releasing on Hiket Nunc. And some of you might have discovered me by reading an article I wrote last week called Not Another JPEG, which is all about this community. So yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I loved your article. Actually, I reached out to you last week about it. I think it was great. So Mario, we all know you. No need for introductions, although I know you would like to.
No. I have no idea why I'm here actually today. You just said like I should show up, and I thought like it's too many people already, so I'm not needed. So I will just sit here and nod and smile. So, well. But it's great to actually see so many new faces again, and like people who have been following for a long time or just discovered like in the past months. So okay, I shut up.
Lionel, hello.
Hi. Hi, hello. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So first, I'm really honored to be here and to meet so many of you that I know from Twitter. And it's just like Jan said, it feels like a kind of a family. There has been so many interaction within this community, and it's just a social dynamic boost explosion for this past year. It's quite exhausting as well, but I really like it. And yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Super. That's great. It's great to have you all here. As I mentioned before on Twitter, I think like the two topics which I think are very relevant as well for the group are mainly curation and pricing for today. And with curation, it's also talking about like discovery and like basically how to discover artists and artwork on the platform. Obviously, the platform is open, so anybody can mint, can take part. But maybe Mark, actually, I might start with you around the website that you built and talking a little bit about how that came about, and also what are the different kind of aspects of it, and if you have any plans on expanding that type of discovery as well.
So I created this website because I found a data set on GitHub, which has a lot of information that wasn't shown on the actual website. So I started just exploring the data, and I found that it contains really useful information. So that's how it started. And I also figured out that it's really nice to see which people make a lot of money and which are undiscovered. Also to see, I was also surprised that you can see the tags of all posts, so you can discover artwork by tags. And so that's how I initially created the website. And so I don't know if you have any specific questions.
Maybe like one for the group if anybody wants to chime in, but obviously I personally have been using it a lot. I think it's like super useful also to find like undiscovered artists, which I guess is like also part of we usually kind of find websites that have top artists or like top sales, and then kind of go from like bottom up instead of bottom down, which I think is like extremely interesting concept to do as well. So especially from like my point of view, where I kind of like scroll a lot the platforms to find like for the videos and for the content, it's definitely something that has been super useful. I don't know if anybody else wants to like chime in on this specifically, as well as discovery on the platform and how you've been finding that.
Well, one thing
you go first.
I was just going to say, one thing I found interesting was I found like a lot of stats about like how sales were going and things like that, and finding that it was mimicking sort of real art world problems of, men being the top earners on such a anonymous platform. It was like kind of weird, or not anonymous, but it's like, it was just, I don't know, troubling to me. And that's like prompted a whole flurry of tweets on my part about this being a problem that we shouldn't try in the NFT space. We should try to amend, or try to not to replicate this problem of women being harder to discover or something. I see all these threads like, where are the women NFT artists or something? It's like, well, we're right here, So I don't know what's to be done about that, I guess, discovery wise. I
have a very unpopular opinion why that is so. So I don't know if I should.
Well, I mean, unpopular opinions are good too. I mean, I know why in some ways, I mean, it's got a lot to do. Go ahead. Yeah.
No. I'm just like, I noticed that as well, and especially like because initially like it was anonymous. So, but of course, all the traffic is again driven already by people from Twitter and their social media. So my fear is that men are just loud and obnoxious and do more shouting, and that is definitely driving people there. So I don't know, like, if the recipe is that everybody has to be even louder or not. But I mean, in the end, all these sales are attention, like totally based on followership and like how often you talk about how great you are. I don't know. So no, I try to avoid that.
I absolutely agree. I think that once we're aware of these issues, though, that like maybe as we're like planning how to make discovery easier, we should think about that, you know? Yep. I mean, I understand that entirely, and like I even the developers like who I follow who were like tweeting loud in the beginning were the reason I joined. You know, it's like, and I love that tweeting loud, you know, being loud about it. But I think the fact that you can't really find people on the site is like the biggest problem that we have to kind of fix, you know, and along the way consider the fact that we want ways of amplifying certain voices. I don't know what the solution is. It was interesting in terms of stats for me, and that was something I found through.
That was something I was super conscious of when I was writing the essay. I had a feeling it was going to be shared quite a bit. I didn't expect that much attention, but I really, from the start, thought I need to amplify the right voices. I need to make sure that I'm supporting you know, female artists, and the South American community from which nunc all started. I really wanted to make sure that that story was, you know, told, and yeah, I think it's I guess it's part of the responsibility of being an artist and a collector and a citizen of a community to help amplify those voices, and I guess if everyone actively did a bit of that, then maybe that would help. It's obviously not a solution, but it kind of counteracts the problems that you identify.
Well, I actually really like the tool created by Mark is that it's allowing us to test and try everything. Like it's so many different kind of filters and ways to discover new artists. It's just like a big laboratory. So a lot of things, I agree with you. Maybe we should not actually think about that for the official platform, but a lot of other things like this undiscovered or unknown or unfamed yet artist is super good filter. It's a super good idea, and I really like the fact that we are in this laboratory mindset here. We are just testing and seeing how the community is reacting, what is the most used, and what is not, what is actually creating a big debate on Twitter and what is not. And that's also why it's so exciting. It's really good that you've done this tool, Mark, because we can just try different things. And exactly like you, Mikkel, I really like the undiscovered artist, and that's how I actually discovered the artist that I bought this week. So it's super useful, and definitely I would not like to see top-down list. I would not like to see how much one artist is getting when they are selling one object. It's not really what I'm looking for, but I'm really looking for diversity, this really horizontal aspect and way of thinking and way of approaching the community. So it's like a live laboratory, I think. That's why it's super exciting.
I got the tip to have the reversed order, or the top-down order from Mario himself. So he told me that was a better idea, and I agree on that, because that allows to discover a lot of artists who have cool stuff, but didn't get the attention yet. And if you want to see the top-selling artists, you can just scroll down if you want. So, but I've been using the the random functionality too, to discover some cool artists that, well, maybe wouldn't have seen otherwise. It's really nice also because you can set this price range. Because if you, not everybody has thousands of pesos to spend, of course. So that really helps to discover what's for you.
And that's super important, I think, because it's super democratic. I really like the fact that everyone can start being an art collector, actually. And this is really, empowering people to become art collector, because it's, quite cheap.
Yeah, I see people with like 500 or 1,000 NFTs in this website, and their profiles can't even load.
May I have two technical questions, Mark? One is like, how are you now updating the data yourself, or are you kind of like, how often is this kind of now being brought up to the latest state? And the other thing, is this also on GitHub that like people could add on even different views or some other ways of kind of showing the data?
Well, first question. The data is directly fetched from GitHub, so I don't do anything. So when the data set is updated, the website is also updated. And at the moment, well, it's, I think now 2 days off. So yeah, it's not updated a lot. But yeah, that's it. I don't control the data set actually. Would be nice if someone from the community or well, the actual owner of the repository would update the data more often. But from what I've seen, is it takes a lot of time to gather all the data. Yeah, but once it's updated, it's also updated on my site. Yeah, and second question, no, it's not open source yet, but if there's any interest for that, I can easily do that. I wouldn't mind to, but I also accept feature requests. So you can just direct message me, and I can add more views or anything. I actually got a lot of requests already, so yeah, a lot of things you see is already based on what people asked so far, and that's really nice because that also helps to make the site more, to have more data and more insight in all what's been around. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
About the tool and like in terms of discovery, right? I want to say that like because of how nunc works right now, you can't discover unless you just scroll or like random stuff, because it's not built in yet. The discovery isn't they're like scrolling, finding by tags, and then the search function isn't incorporated yet. So these tools, I really appreciate them. And especially because right now, a lot of the discovery is kind of like we're outsourcing it to like Twitter, for example. So it does play a big part in like, how like Mario said, how loud you're shouting, or how many followers you have, or like if the algorithm works for you or against you. And not a lot of people, there's a lot of people who also are not like into Twitter. So I like that there's this other separate tool, but then you can also see like the biases, as Aria said, because people are using Twitter to get to discover or like to follow the artists on nunc. But what I think we can take from it is like see what's working with the current like outsourcing tools that we have, such as this one, or like how we discover each other on Twitter, and then kind of like formulate a way that works with the site and like with the culture as well. I think we can kind of like combine what we've been working or what we've been using, and then like find like the issues, and then what's good and then what's not good, and then we can come up with something that works for the site. I don't know what that is yet, but I like that there's these options out there.
I mean, I like it that we have all these companion sites. For me, actually, theoretically, we would have never to integrate any of the tools into the site. I mean, yes, most people want that. And the more popular it gets, then people will ask, where's the search function? So it needs a lot of explanation. But I like it that like anybody can go and add a little satellite to it and well maintains that, so it makes the whole process also much quicker. To like the more you build into the site itself, the harder like it gets to maintain it. That's kind of what I fear. But yes, some basic functionality would probably be nice to have on the site itself.
But maybe this is where it dovetails into curation, you know? It's like maybe this is like maybe Hic Nunc is the kind of, for lack of a better word, repository of all the arts and everything, and we just provide the ways, like this repository that Mark is using, like some way that people can access all the data easily or whatever, and make their own applications or ways of featuring or something like this, if that's useful. You know, think about it like that. Like you're always working with companion sites with it, but you can make your own or something, you know.
One thing I've noticed I've started doing is actually I collect artwork so that I can find that artist on Hic Nunc again. So basically my collection becomes how I follow people. And it's like, all right, I need to get at least one, you know, free piece by this artist, or one tears or two tears. And then I can always go back to that artist and see what they've done again. And it's just like, that's my list of people that I want to follow. And I feel like I have to, you know, show some appreciation to follow them. It's like not a free thing anymore. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna like, you know, follow your work and I kind of need to like chip some money in and to have that visibility
in
as
a way,
well.
Showing that you value their presence there and the fact that they can drop there. I mean, that's cool, you know, and I think it's interesting that you can sort of curate your own collection in that way. You know, I kind of wish it was attached to names a little bit more, but yeah, it is what it is. It's cool, yeah. You know.
But I like recognizing people through their art as well. It's like, you know, their art comes to my mind before their profile pictures or their names. It's like, oh, there's that artist that makes those, you know, cool 3D canvases. And then I kind of click on the one that I have and I can see if that artist is making more. So there's a really different way of interpreting and following that's very different from other forms of social media. So I kind of like how organic this part of curation is becoming, this kind of socializing through curation and through collecting. It feels to me like a new thing that I haven't seen before.
And you actually mentioned the profile pictures, and I remember, you know, the first time I actually filled up the form, I was, oh, I need actually to upload my picture. I said, no, actually, I don't want. So I took a screenshot of the profile picture of Hic Nunc, you know, the generated one, and that's actually my profile picture because I just want to publish my art. Like I had to add my name, so it's linked to my social media things, but I didn't want to put a picture of myself because it's just about my art. And I totally agree with you on this one. I think we should, value the art first. And I'm actually doing the same as you. I use my collection as a list of all the artists that I want to follow. And every week, I'm actually checking everyone and seeing if I want to buy a new one. So.
Yeah, in the first day, we only had the wallet address, and I thought it was really nice because you had to search for who was the author. So you had to go on Discord or on Twitter and just search. And it was even better that, okay, you know who is the artist, but going to other social networks and knowing them and see what they have done before, I really like that. And from the tool from Mark, I really like the tags feature because I think this is something that is on nunc, but it's not really used on the site itself. But going to Mark's tool, you can have a look at a really big list of tags, and you have some. I go to the list used and check what people are doing, because you have. I can see the list used right now has 10. Well, the list with 10 is cathode. So what can be there? And so this is a really interesting way to find stuff, and really like this tool. Discover new artists.
I agree.
I really liked what kind of tags people would use, because I saw someone use a taco as emoji as tag.
I know you could use emojis as tags. I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the moment it breaks the tool, but yeah, okay.
Oh.
I have to work on that.
I was not really comfortable with labeling my works because I'm doing different things and don't know which words can correspond to it. But searching by tags is a nice feature because you find so many things.
Yeah, maybe it's the most useful.
I end up just putting the same tags on all my work because I don't have anything else to put.
Doing the same, actually.
Yeah, but however, like the tags are actually a way to tell more about your artwork. So most of the time, I try to add something like sunset because it's actually a photography of a sunset, but I don't say it in the description, and I think it's not really obvious. But if you check the tags, you understand that it is actually a real sunset. So it's a way to tell a little bit more, give a little bit more info and background on the story. So that's also good to think about tags this way, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Matthew, it was you. You mentioned before something around like obviously following the people, collecting and following the people that you collect from, which is something that I do as well. But also a point on curation, which I think was interesting, which is really something that I found on nunc that is kind of democratizing the process of curation as well. Because really, like, it might happen, especially in the space, that the curated kind of pieces are of the artists who either speak the loudest or are the most shown, like over Twitter or over social media, over the top kind of 10, 20 sales, etc. of the other platforms. But actually, through this tool, there's a whole other way of approaching curation, which is based on tags, which is based on art, like the form of art, so what genre you're doing, or even simply like the color, undiscovered artists, like anything at all, really. So it kind of opens up a whole new, in my opinion, a whole new way of actually approaching curation or storytelling, which is super important, I think, for the space, but also really unique to nunc as a platform as well.
I end up just looking at all of the NFTs on the site, like as they go through, like every single one. I follow that bot, so I see every single one.
Wow.
Endless scrolling.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I like that it's like the undiscovered thing is what you want to make it to be like the total opposite of the popular social media that we use, like Instagram discover page, for example. It's like showing like the popular posts, and like the algorithm is like working against you, and then like it hides posts from people unless you like pay. So I think this is like, it's democratizing, and then making it like not about popular, like you want to make it not about popularity, you want to make it about pure discovery. And like how Lionel said, like in the earlier days of last month of Hicket Nunc.
A long time ago.
Yeah, it's ages. Yeah, there was like no information, like it's just the wallet address, and even without like the generated profile pictures, it was purely about the art. And that was, I think it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was before people even like started to add their bio in the description. But of course, with that comes the problem of like copy minters and stuff. So as the site grew more popular, those steps need to be taken. But there is something to be said about like the pureness of just speaking through the art itself. Yeah.
I, in the early, like early this month, I would scroll through every single one, and it would be way better because I can just see something I like and get that and not have to worry about copy minting. But now I have to go check Twitter and Discord to see if it's actually what I'm buying.
Well, I think
I
going
love how
forward, like it's gonna change a lot over time, no? I mean, everybody likes the glorious sunrise of something, and it's even though that was just last month, or something. I know what you mean though, because when I joined, it was just the site was almost primitive. It was like you had to keep clicking sync. It was really complicated to figure it out, and we were all on Twitter figuring it out. But I think the future of this thing is wide open. I mean, the amount of people who are joining now, the quality of the work is really high. I think even scrolling through random, it's super interesting, I think. And you can't help but want to help the community to organize around that in some way, and I think we don't need to copy what we see elsewhere. We can think about it a bit differently. Like maybe there's some way for people to come together and join together temporarily and then split apart. Like I don't know, collectives should be able to use it, and then or I don't know, just thinking of different ways that people can come together and split apart again, and then I don't know, discover each other this way, or I don't know, just making it a tool in some way, or an API or something that can be used in different kinds of ways. Could be interesting.
Sorry, about the what you said just now. I think Raphael is like thinking about doing something like a page to, or like some way to support the independent self-organized, like artists or self-organized. I don't know if he's here, but like maybe he can talk about his idea about like self-organized like exhibitions or curated galleries for the site to support that, but like in a decentralized manner. So like for example, there was the bumper sticker show, and then there was like the Pupila Dilata show, but like those were like posted about elsewhere. But to have it on the site, it's to have like the support or the links to these various like exhibitions or galleries on the site itself, so that there's like an event kind of thing. I don't know what the idea is, but there's like a potential for like what you said, like for people to get together and like have something going on there. I think Raphael's here.
Sorry, problems with the mic. But it's good to be here with all of you again. I was trying to meet Aurea, but never had the time with the rush. But yes, like the discovery tool, it's interesting because like it is a blockchain protocol, right? So the idea is indeed like people can have methods for finding, for creating search tools, and for example, there are a friend, Jack, he was trying to create a recommendation system, like to see who are near you based on which objects you have collected, So it is, and it is something fairly new, actually, and this, how we can create a recommendation system that shows works from like that are nearby you, but also can suggest other things. But yes, like the problem is like if you remain in a bubble, right? So the idea is indeed like to bring some strength beyond the protocol, like because the protocol is a code, right? So we have to create connections, I believe, like from independent sources of like try to unite some studios and try to educate people around blockchain tech, also around around media art, and one thing would be interesting is that like there are many, for example, in Latin America, there are many people who do generative code like with Hydra, it's live coding and stuff. So many people can contribute with their own experiences, like and have try to maybe be autonomous on chain, because like indeed you can have your own website, you can even buy from your own website, but using the tools that we have made available. But yes, it would be interesting, like this curation method being something that we are building also together, bringing these collectives, because it is important, like an NFT, of course it has its impact, like, but it's interesting to try to build like collectives around this, also around NFTs. Like it is not something actually that is, it is a fairly new horizon, right?
Absolutely. I was surprised at how easy it was to sort of hook into the beacon system and like use Hicket Nunc for minting, but then like have our own website when we built bit.art. Like it was really not hard. Like it was easier than we thought it was going to be, and like so to make sort of a front end in a sense for like that audience that's coming through that site and who needs like more description and needs like names and needs to be sort of handheld through the like wallet process and all this stuff, but at the same time in the back end it's just my Hicket Nunc page, and it's like I really love the fact that it's like two different communities that can come together around NFTs, and you can have both. It's super interesting way to use Hicket Nunc. At first I was sort of like, well, we're building a front end on this, that's a little weird, but at the same time it's like it's all right there. We have the object numbers, like it's really, I don't know, interesting from that standpoint as a way to connect people to digital art.
I think your show is like really fantastic. I mean, it does such an incredible job at providing that front end that's, I guess, given a different format that, as you said, it's it's a bit more comfortable for like a more of a traditional art audience to get into and learn more about the art. And I'd love to see more shows. I'd love to see Hicket Nunc be the back end for group shows, and that we can kind of organize our own group shows and say, okay, let's do a show about this, and everyone can mint artworks, in response to that brief, and have their own curated show with the wallet accessible, and then everything kind of taken care of on Hicket Nunc in the back.
There is actually one coming up. look out for it on Monday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Teasing.
And they're probably going to have a special page on Hic et Nunc even, which might be the first time that's happened. But yeah, yeah. Talking about the fin, we'll see what it becomes.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's what
my request to the developers is if you can put some of your secrets into making this happen on a GitHub or something, so that we can all learn how to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think this would be fantastic if it was like possible to come together like that, and like we'll see how it works out. Like starting on Monday, if this initiative, it's like basically just a bunch of artists who are going to drop at the same time, and we're all gonna it's gonna happen over a period of weeks though, and it should be an interesting collective experiment on top of all these other collective experiments we're doing with Hic et Nunc in general. So I mean, but it should be possible for anyone to be able to come together like that. I think that's like where it gets really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, similarly, I love to have the infrastructure to collaborate with artists and being able to sort of automatically, I don't know, split the profits or the sales. That'd be really.
Yeah, exactly. Like some events that we had experiment, like object for object and pupila dilatada, like and Kaliania Club, like they made some other pages, and we were thinking like, oh, if someone could have a gallery inside of Hic, right? So this idea of collectives, we are gonna start experimenting it, but yes, the idea is to have it on this format of having a collective and splitting profits from behind a contract, so people can also find other organizations means. And it's something fairly new, actually. I don't know if there are many practical contracts that use it, but this is a effort that we are trying to push, and it's going to be interesting to see it being developed in trying to follow like this decentralized philosophy to enable people indeed to use this tool and learn from this tool, and maybe possibly design other systems also,
Actually, there was somebody, forgot the name again, but this week, who wrote actually a smart contract that allows to split profits, like to split royalties and profits. So I think it's already in the development, and it kind of worked, but it's still difficult. I don't know if you saw that. I would have to. It was Monday or so. So yeah, it seems to be possible even without making any changes to the site itself. So it's just kind of, you have to mint it through that contract, which then mints it on Hic et Nunc. I don't know. So split profits seem to be on the near horizon.
That would be really interesting for collaborations between, multiple people. Yeah, that's really cool.
That would be amazing for collaborations and also for fundraising. Like, for example, you can have like transparency, like 10% is going to go to this charity, and then that charity has a wallet of its own, and you can like see the transaction like real time. I think that would be amazing. I mean, I love that for fundraising events.
I brought this up in a Twitter thread, but like if a piece is made with a different NFT, you could send some percent of the profits to that creator.
Yeah. But this kind of thinking is why I like Hic et Nunc, actually. It's like that we can think this way, it's pretty great.
So just if you check it out, Z Tepler 9000 was on, when was it? April 13th. Yeah, so there's actually a contract where he or she worked on it. So I don't know. Yeah, so Z Tepler 9000. I don't know how I can add this link to this here. Oh, sorry. So somebody has to find that.
Sorry, I had to add myself back because we're 10, so I need to exchange people to come in and out of the stream. That's why you didn't see me. But I think these are all really cool ideas. Actually, Aria, I know that obviously you actually have a show, well, a solo show right now on, right?
Yeah,
On
yeah, it's in a physical gallery space, but then all this NFT stuff happened. I was having the actual art show, and then all this NFT stuff started happening all around us. And of course, in my show, I had all this digital work, and it was just like, how can I reach people with this digital work other than, at first it was just like it didn't kind of matter because like, you have digital work in a physical show and nobody cares, but then all of a sudden everybody cared about the digital work. So it was like, how do I take advantage of this to spread this particular group of work? Because I'm a digital artist at heart. I mean, and at the basis of it all, even though I have a physical show. So we decided to, at first we were looking around like crazy as one does, in the beginning of all this, not really knowing much. And I had to educate myself like really hard, like, because everything looked like auctions and marketplaces and all this stuff, and it didn't appeal to me. And then all the problems with the ecological footprint of Ethereum and all this. And I just was sort of freaking out. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, because I didn't want to just throw it up on OpenSea or something, that felt like disrespect to everything I had done, So it felt like kind of hopeless. And then I found Hic Nunc one day, probably through Mario, and me and my friend Leah were on Twitter trying to figure out how to mint something together. And it just felt so like good. I'm just gonna say that. Like it felt really good to be like there with my friends, like on Twitter trying to use this tool. Like, and then we did it and we were like, oh wow, we figured it out, and it just was really funny. And then everybody went and bought my first drop, and it was just like, it was so cute. It was just like, oh, okay, this feels very I don't know, very fun, welcoming, and like it was a community that I really felt comfortable with. And it took a little bit for me to convince everyone else who was involved in building bit.art that we should use Hic Nunc, because it was a bit, it was a bit precarious for the other people who were involved in the project, and they didn't have this feeling that I had. And I was like, no, but really, this is the only solution. I said, because I don't want to mint anywhere else, and so then it was just a question of working with a web developer, and he literally spent like a couple of days, like, and then just like figured out how to hook everything up. And like, it didn't take long at all. It was just like, wow, okay. So we just built it basically. And it was really, and so it became a way of having a solo exhibition of digital work that's a companion to the physical show, and it was really just, it all happened very fast. And as stuff is happening very fast right now, but I'm really happy that we decided to do it and that we did it the way that we did it. It felt like I didn't have to compromise, because for the longest time it felt like I would have to, and then it was just like, no, I don't have to compromise. I can do what I'm comfortable with, and that's just like all because Hic Nunc is so flexible, and I guess the way the blockchain works or something. I'm still learning so much about all this, and it's been pretty exciting, and at the same time, like kind of surreal and weird, and and so yeah, like having digital art like valued right now is really, really like making me so happy, because it felt like for the longest time like nobody really valued the work. And I'm not talking about monetary value at all. I am talking about the fact that we're like collecting people's works just to follow what they do. I mean, and also seeing the quality of the work go up because of this, because people are trying harder, because it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just going to pin this in my, put it in my Tumblr, or, and it's like this constant stream of stuff, but no one, I'm talking about value, and like feeling like you're presenting something and that you want people to really value it. And I think that's all we've ever wanted from digital art work or media work, is that people value what we do and not think like, oh, this person's going to work for free, or they're just constantly going to give me content, or give the content to Facebook forever, and get nothing out of it, and that's why I support NFTs, at least when done like ethically, elegantly. I don't know, and I feel like Hic and Nunc has allowed me to have both of those, an ethical and elegant solution, and that's important. Yeah.
And I will add that it is not just for digital artists, actually, for all the emerging artists, actually, find a space where they can actually exist. Like it is so difficult to be an artist today. Like the art industry is so closed and so heavy and so full of rules, which are most of the time not really ethical and totally not democratic. And it feels like finally you can have a space, you can exist somewhere. Like, you know, I've been producing for the past decade, and I tried so many things. I had a collective of artists. I tried outdoor screening. I've done so many things, but it's the first time that I can actually find a space where my art is actually seen and valued, not just by my friends and friends of friends, but, you know, by a community who actually understands, because we share the same values, and that's priceless, really. Really priceless.
I actually saw something. I like in my Twitter. I always see, well, primarily Hic et Nunc stuff now. Really, it's like only about that. But I also see a lot of artists like kind of pushing each other. Like, oh, you know, I found this way to do this, and then somebody else kind of jumps on and says, oh, I actually, you know, kind of elaborated on what you found, and actually found that we can do this and this and this. And it's obviously it's really beautiful to see, because it's like collaboration at the maximum level, and also like building on each other's skills and on each other's expertise. So maybe I know how to do this part and you can join and do the other part, and together somebody else can, and it's just like a continuous kind of cycle. And it's something that I actually hadn't seen before in the NFT space so far. I don't know if anybody else had, but from my personal experience, it was very much about the single kind of individual piece and the single individual artist, whilst what is happening here feels like it's very much like a build on a community. Even for the art itself, it's kind of like keeping adding on and on and on, and I find that very
I think
very
that's
fun.
everything that's possible there. It's not just, oh, put your animated GIF up or your video. It's like, okay, the HTML interactive object thing is amazing because it didn't require me personally to have to change what I did in order to participate. And so therefore I do something weird, you know, and then people are like, how'd you do that thing? You know, and I'm like, oh, well, I used this and then I uploaded it this way. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, so let me try that. And then I mean, I think that that's made people go off, you know, just being able to like use scripts and like, you know, and just figure out things like your 3D painting thing. Like I've seen that other people do that, but they do it differently. You know, it's like so it creates a kind of sharing of ideas, but everyone does something unique with it, and that's super. And I have seen this before. I mean, this is very Web 1.0. You know, like the very view source, very like, you know, how'd you do that JavaScript trick that opened 100 windows and moved them around the screen? You know, it's a little bit like that, you know, a limited version, you know, because the web is way more conservative now than it used to be. But at the same time, it's pretty cool, like to have that sharing going on, and yeah, I think it's great.
I think for me, it's sorry. I just very briefly just say, for me, it's the first platform where I can actually speak to the developers that are contributing to the platform, and that creates this really interesting scenario in which nothing's set in stone yet, and so there's like special requests coming in from artists like, how can we do this and how can we make this happen? And then the next day, you know, that's something available or kind of works somehow. You know, for me, this is you know, I'm discovering stuff about my own work that I didn't know. Like I put stuff out on the GLTF file, and then someone tweets, "Oh, I can see your work in augmented reality," and I'm like, I had no idea it could. And then I can upload it to my holographic display, and I had no idea it could do that either. So this is kind of interesting. reciprocal collaboration between artists and the sort of technologists working on the underlying infrastructure for this, and that's really exciting. It's just kind of, yeah, it feels very unique to this platform and this community.
Yes.
I think,
go.
Sorry, you go first. You were gonna say.
Go.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, that's the beauty of it being like open source, I guess, because like you want it, you build it, and then it can go live. Whereas like if it's like a centralized closed platform, you've been shouting at like Twitter, like, hello, get an edit button, and instead they introduce something like totally not what you want, but because it's like it brings in money. So it's like it's not just collaboration between artists on the art, but it's like collaboration between like people building the platform. So it's really community driven. So I think that's just really beautiful. Okay, Lionel.
Okay, I was exactly using the community-driven terms. But I really feel that because you can upload NFTs that are tutorials or proof of concept, just for others to learn how to do it as well and share it. This is just awesome. The developers are really reachable, accessible, and yeah, you can develop a lot of things and it's get done and you see your art there. It's really awesome.
Cool. I was giving a pause to see if anybody else wanted to chime in. I think on the topic also, because I know we have Thais here, and obviously, she and Emily created the object for object, and it's just on the topic of curation and kind of auto-generated, I guess, curated like exhibitions and events. So yeah, I know there's something coming up. So maybe Thais, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I think object for object was a really good idea and a great experiment. And I think Hackathon, we have this community and it's so great that it's open. So I think if we start doing like these galleries and special events on the website, how can we create that without creating like somehow a hierarchy? I mean, we have to keep in mind that it should be decentralized and how everyone's work is gonna be seen. And I think this is like something we can try, and if it doesn't work, we can see what's not working and change. And that's the beauty of it. Also, it's always changing, and we can learn from our mistakes, not like a platform where no, it is what it is and there's no change back. Even though we are like in blockchain, we have somehow the ability to understand and grow with this idea. And now we are planning, I don't know, maybe an exhibition of the first objects for objects and maybe a second one. You all have been noted. We'll know more soon. We're still like finishing the last details to launch our campaign, and I think it will be like super cool.
I have one question. For the developers, like in terms of like talking about like curation, what we've been talking about are like more general, wider types of curation. But like talking about as like an artist / collector, our own collection that we have in our account profile. I think because I have like diverse tastes. There's like some moody stuff, there's some black and white stuff, there's some interactive stuff, there's like some funny stuff. I think it would be nice if like you can, like each person has the ability to kind of curate their own collected works into like, you know, like collections. Like here's like a collection that speaks to me because of how it makes me feel about the earth, for example, or here's a collection of works that's like black and white. So like one, it's not just endless scrolling of like a mishmash of stuff, but two, there's like some kind of like a gallery curation that everyone can participate in and everyone can do with whatever they collected. So I don't know if that's like gonna be a thing or not, but I like it.
Yeah, I think we chatted about that last time or 2 weeks ago. But I think everyone wants that, so.
This is a hint for Rafael, maybe.
Yes, there were this week, right? The feed had this change, like now the feed is a bit more proportional, and that was a change. But there are might be others like the one that I really want to do is like have nicknames like hiketnunk.x and your nickname, you know, and you would have your own page, or the same things for galleries. So the idea is to have this like just to have this tool, so people can use it, so you know you can link everyone to your work. But with this nickname tool, it becomes possible, you know, this division of your own collection, of your own creations. But yeah, it is good to talk with everyone about the design. For example, this week we're going to have an experiment with how galleries are going to work, you know, and it's going to be similar, like from the smart contract point of view, like we are trying to implement the user interface and come with the smart contract. And but yes, like I don't know, Flickr have something like that, or maybe you could have like playlists, I don't know, something like that also, because for example I use it a lot for listening to music, you know, and I was talking to people like, oh, how we do a playlist of songs, you know. So like the collection things inside a feed, you know, or inside your profile. um, Maybe it would be interesting to think in this sense of playlists, you know, and let these and you can scroll through your playlist, you know, just an idea. But I find it a good direction.
I'm wondering because the profile data is also kind of coming from a different side, right? And so maybe like having another companion site which allows people to whatever build that, kind of like make a collection or order their own collection, and then have it integrated in a similar way into the site. Like it reads a feed, like you said, Raphael, like almost like a playlist, but you know, I don't know. Of course, ideally it's on the side. I never know how, if it's easier to develop something on the side or if it's easier if somebody just builds it first on the outside and then we just pull it in.
Yeah, like changes on the site I'm really minimal. For example, yesterday I did a change that is like 101, you know, the editions. It was like a really small change because the logic of like many people create apps and they have a concept, you know, and I think we are trying to figure out the concept of this app, you know, a bit. How to, because like implementing new features, it can break sometimes the UI, and I believe we have to try to leave it a bit magical, you know. And but of course, like but as it is a decentralized protocol, it is possible like to have these many other companions implementations, you know. About Lionel, it was really cool. The collaboration that you have been up to these days, like with the Ouroboros, right? And the other one, the solar punk one, I'm a fan also. With Queiroz, right?
Yes.
Just wanted to comment out.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried the collaboration in the early days, so there was no solution. I think there is still no solution right now. But so one of us, Queiroz, minted the piece, and then he was sending the split sales from his wallet. This is a solution. Yeah, maybe a list of offsite tools could be on the About page or somewhere on nunc. Maybe this could be a really easy way to discover these different tools. Maybe
There is a list, Violet made
Oh.
one. I think it's on GitHub.
Yeah, on the README. Yes, I think there is a list on the GitHub, but maybe directly from the website, it could be easier for everyone to find it.
In the About page, right?
Yeah.
I guess that would be a good place where all the other things are linked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I think 1x1 NFT minted created the ink link tool to have your own address that link to your profile or to link to a specific object as well.
Cool. I know we're over 1 hour, so I want to be conscious of all of your time. Or we can still keep on chatting. For me, it's the same. Does anybody else have? I know we had to talk on like the pricing topic, but maybe we can leave it for next week. I saw like a couple of people doing like timed auctions or kind of like open edition. So maybe we can leave that topic for next time. But does anybody else have anything else that they want to comment, add, anything at all?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can I? So
Sure.
thank you. So regarding the prices, our discussion, there is something I'd like to just ask for the next week or the next time there is this discussion. It is regarding the variation in the price of Tezos. How do artists deal with that? Is it something that is okay, you set a Tezos price and you just have a look at it in Tezos, or are you looking at the price in US dollars as well? Just a question, no need to answer right now, but open.
I actually had the same question, so would be a good topic for the next.
Or if anybody wants to talk about it now, we can definitely do that. I don't know if anybody has any comments on this.
I personally price all my stuff in Tezos, and I don't think about the dollar amount. Mostly because I'm buying other people's art with that money and not withdrawing any of it.
Well, I guess we have the thing that those who are already on the platform, like even from Malaysia or Brazil, like probably have a certain level. But I remember that, yes, that like 1 Tezos is actually kind of not little money. I mean, it's probably not much, but it does at some point, I guess, make a difference whether it's $4 or 10. So, I mean, in the end, yes, I also kind of think in Tezos, and there is this magic 1 Tez thing, but maybe at some point that has to go down to 0.5 if you want to make it affordable, and Tezos goes up to 50. I don't know. Well, I guess we will see 10 next, but it's a general problem in all crypto art on all chains, right? Like, and yes, the longer you are in there, the more you just think you don't exchange anymore. But of course, for anybody who's coming freshly and just starting there, even though we are so cheap, it will create some barrier at some point. So
yeah.
I mean, in the end, it's the market dynamic, right? That and the number one is so tempting to use. I mean, who wants to set like 0.5 or 0.1 test, right?
The
But
mutez.
it's
Muted.
it will become an issue. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, but speaking of like whether you use like a fiat, like you think about the fiat price and the Tezos price. I actually think about like I actually have like both in mind. Sometimes I'm thinking about, okay, this one I'm more like focusing on like the Tezos price, and then this one I want to make it like so that I can make out how much like in terms of my local currency, like ringgit, for example, because one Tezos right now is 30 ringgit. When I first started a month ago, it was 17 ringgit, so it's like double, and like 30 ringgit is three times that is like already almost like 100 ringgit, which is quite a lot. So it's good that to have like a variation. Like sometimes you have like something more affordable for people who are just coming in. You have to keep in mind still the fiat price, and then have some other stuff priced more towards people who are already used to like the crypto. So like I know it's like for me, I'm also starting to, like getting used to just like Tesla's price. But I'm still trying to keep in mind because like it's in Malaysia, it's just starting. Like people are only just starting to get into it, so you have to think about that as well, even as you start to get used to Tesla's. I think about both to answer that question.
Just out of curiosity, so how much, like, what can I buy for 30 ringgit in Malaysia? Just so, I don't know, what is that like? Is that a meal, or is that a pack of cigarettes, or I don't know.
Okay, so if it's, hold on, I'm not great at math.
Like 1 pesos, I mean, like, let's say.
All right. So 30 ringgit or 1 pesos can buy you, if it's like affordable lunch, it can buy you 5 days worth of normal affordable lunch, like 5 ringgit. It's 5 days. But if you want like something a bit more fancy, then it's like 1 lunch. So that's roughly what 30 ringgit value is.
Like the minimum wage there is how much ringgit?
Minimum wage?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I think it's like 900. Yeah. But like the average pay is like between like 2,000 ringgit, 3,000. Yeah. Which is let me just check right now. CoinGecko, which is Malaysian, by the way. If you guys don't know, CoinGecko is Malaysian, built by Malaysians. Yeah, so the average salary right now is like just below 100 pesos in Malaysia.
Yeah, but also
Anybody else?
something that happens is like sometimes I buy an art for like 5 pesos and there's almost 180 reais, and that I wouldn't buy an art for 180 reais like in a weekly basis, like I'm doing right now. But now I can buy, even if it's an NFT, not a physical art, but now I can buy that. But I try to think on pesos so I don't stop buying. Because if I think in Brazilian reais, I would be like, no, this is like a lot of money. I can spend on this. But there's also like this feeling.
Yeah,
that's also
same.
Mark's tool, right? Where you suddenly see, gosh, I spent more on art than I spent on holidays of like the last 10 years or something like that. Oh.
I think like pricing is
all the information.
Yeah, I think pricing is a very like important topic. So definitely we'll maybe like dedicate the next time to that for sure. I know like a few people have to jump off, so let's definitely continue the conversation next week. And for this week, thank you all so much. As always, it's super nice. And yeah, thanks, and see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye.
Bye bye.
It's a pleasure.